Hi, I am Spirit with SP Wood Art, and I am excited to show you today some of the products that I use in my shop every single day. And I think you're going to really like it, so stick around to the end.
I love Starbond.
Yeah, see? We all agree. Great stuff. Well, if you don't know already, CA glue or super glue or cyanoacrylate, or in this case Starbond, comes in various viscosities. There's a thin and a medium and a thick. Those are your standard viscosities. But what's great about Starbond is they also come in between viscosities, as in like medium thick or heavy thin. I do want to show you the 5 major categories of how I use Starbond in my shop and the multitude of applications for these great products. If you're not working with stabilized woods or different kind of woods that often are not the best kind for threading, you can help stabilize those woods by using a thin super glue or a heavy thin, which I use for Starbond as well, to strengthen the threads for jigs, woodworm screws. And if you thread chase or hand chase threads, or wood chasing they call it sometimes, this is a great way to help stabilize those threads. I also use the Starbond thins on bottle stopper threads to avoid chip out. This really helps to prevent that. It makes your jig or your sacrificial blocks last a lot longer. I use the Starbond thin viscosities to stabilize spalted woods and punky woods. It really is a fantastic alternative to a huge stabilizing setup. It's inexpensive and it works really well. Another great use for Starbond thin glues is to stabilize end grain before you put on a finish. That way it eliminates having to have like 5 or 6 coats because the end grain just keeps soaking it up, like on the ends of tool handles. I often sell fire starters and a lot of tools that have lanyards, and to make sure that the lanyards don't come apart or the knots come undone, I like to use a thin viscosity CA glue from Starbond, a couple of drops of that either on the leather, or you can also use it on paracord, and it changes the color a little bit, but it makes sure that the knot really never comes apart. I like to use the heavy, thin Starbond glue to stabilize bark on live edge pieces and actually just stabilize the entire bark itself on the side. You can also use the regular thin viscosity if you didn't want it as shiny. I also use Starbond products as a filler for gaps, voids, holes, and cracks in wood. I recommend the thick, medium, or the unique to Starbond tinted glues. I also recommend an accelerator for this. For the tinted glues, they have a brown, black, and white. For accelerators, Starbond has a pump bottle and an aerosol can. I love these accelerators, the best I've ever used. No glue whitening and cures the glue in seconds. Definitely recommending having an accelerator on hand, either the pump or the can. They are both great. Starbond is the only company that offers a brown and a white CA glue, and I often like to use the brown on brown colored woods for obvious reasons, but I also use it on light colored woods too, and it adds a contrast. Even the black does. It gives it kind of a spalting look. You can also use it on knots, and that really helps to keep those knots from not coming out of the wood. As you can see here, I also use the included micro tips for precision applications. And Starbond is really great this way of giving you these micro tips, let alone a bunch of them in the package. And they also give you these red caps in each bag, and that's a clog-free cap with a pin inside. The reason I really like Starbond is they come with some extra caps right in the package, which is really nice. can use the clear glues as a filler. Either sprinkle sawdust into the area you want to fill and then use some thin CA glue, like I've done here with this piece of lignin vitae, which is one of the hardest woods in the world. You can use another method, and that is to mix the sawdust with a medium or thick clear CA glue and then apply it to the area. Okay, this is the area I have the most fun with, and that is using this Starbond super glues as an art tool. One technique that I use in the shop is adding pigment powders to the CA glue to change the color of it. It's a great way to add some color to your piece. Small areas like small cracks and gaps and holes, and it works very quick. You will need to work fast, so pre-prep it will help. And just a note, higher volumes of CA have increased bonding times. I do recommend the thick CA for this. I also use the tinted CA glues as inlays. As an example, this Norse piece, I used the black CA to make a medallion look like an old letter wax seal. Or I've used the black CA on inlaying carved patterns. Another popular Starbond use in my shop is for pen turners. You can use the white or the black CA to not only glue the brass tubes in place, but color the tubes on those semi-transparent blanks. It works really, really well. I also use CA for decorating and texturing. On a side note, make sure that you're using all the proper safety precautions in a well-ventilated area. Really? I could have like 10 safety glasses in the shop, and I can't find where I leave one. And while we're on the safety topic, Starbond makes a debonder, which is great if you've ever glued your fingers together. And theirs is nice because it actually comes built with a built-in little brush, and you just brush it on your finger, wait a few minutes, and then try to rub it off or pull your fingers apart. It's a great product to have on hand just in case of an emergency. So besides the basic using glue to repair things like my kids' toys and plastic pieces in the shop or things that have broken and ceramic pieces, I can also use CA as an extra hand in the shop. If you're a wood turner, you can clamp sacrificial blocks to your pieces and then turn them off and then reuse them again. Or you can tack up wood carvings or moldings on projects like I've done with this desk. You can either use some wood glue with some CA glue to tack it up quickly, or you could just use the CA glue and then some brad nails. You can also make your own double-sided tape. Take 2 pieces of painter's tape between the pieces you want to temporarily clamp together. Glue one side, maybe a medium glue. Use an accelerator on the other side of the tape, and then you can put them together and it holds really, really well. And then when you're done, you can just peel the tape off on both sides and both surfaces are completely unaffected. I sometimes use this method on pieces that are already finished and I want to make changes to it. Either reattaching lids, making some changes, and then taking them back off. Or if you already made like a bowl or something and you no longer have a tenon or a sacrificial block on the back, you can reattach it quickly and then remove it after you've made your changes. If you are going to try this for wood turning, make sure you use a drawbar in your Jacob's truck, and also make sure you bring up the tailstock for safety. I also use the medium CA glue to tack up small hardware pieces, as in on jewelry. As a side note, people often ask me if some of the colors on bare wood will bleed and stain the surrounding area. and I have never had a problem with that. So if you are worried about that, I recommend putting a clear coat over the area first and then adding the color, and then you should absolutely have no issues. And to illustrate a bunch of my points in this video, I made this little board of different viscosities of the CA glues. There's a thin, a heavy thin. You can see it soaks in. Heavy thin has a sheen to it, stays on the surface a little bit more. The medium obviously runs down farther than the thick. The brown and the black and the white, you can see, does not bleed into the edges. And this is a piece of bare oak. And lastly, I will finish on the topic of finishing with a Starbond glue. I have been using Starbond as a pen finish for a while now, and it has very repeatable, durable results. And that's because Starbond supplies its customers with the freshest CA glues produced monthly, which means that the CA glues perform better and last longer. They guarantee 30 months shelf life and 20 months for the colored glues. That's pretty awesome. I also use Starbond as a finish for keychains and tool handles. My favorite finish for lathe tools. I've made this one a long time ago, and it's still like the day that I put it on there. It feels great in the hands. I'm a huge fan of wood handles. You can absolutely use CA glue for finishes on bowls or spindle work or faces or bottle stoppers, not just pen blanks. It'll stay forever. You can also use CA to seal signatures. Before I had a custom branding iron made, I used to sign my pieces with pens. It's nice, it gives it that handmade look. For those of you that cast, not only do I use Starbond clear glues for holding items in place before a cast, I sometimes use the CA glues as a sealant before pours. You can either use an acid brush for a one-time use, or I like to use a silicone brush because you can reuse it, and just brush the CA on, and then after it dries completely, make sure the area is ventilated as well. You just peel off the glue off the silicone bristles and you're good to go again. So like I have said, I've been using Starbond for many years now, and I highly recommend it if you have not tried it yet. And if you have tried it yet, maybe you should try some of the other products that you maybe haven't tried yet, because there's just such a wealth of use and variation of products to help you in your shop or for your woodworking or wood turning. It's just a really great product to have. And I'd like to give a big thanks for Starbond for sponsoring this video, and as always, stay safe in your shop at all times. Thank you and take care.